The showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
All right, showdown time. Christopher Mad Dog Russo is with us. He does this once a week. Doggy, good to have you back, my friend.
Always a pleasure there, Bri. How are you today,
Good.
pal? Good?
We're talking big stuff with the general managers. We'll get to Mike Rizzo in a second. What do you make on the Mets and David Stearns? I just did a whole thing that sometimes having all that money can be a hindrance. It can get you into trouble. You'll run yourself into walls. Your thoughts on Stearns coming from small market Milwaukee to New York?
Oh, he's going to do great. I mean, that was a no-brainer. They needed somebody along those lines. You know, I think Milwaukee probably should have allowed him to go a couple years ago. I think they were a little petty there with his contract. But this is a perfect pop opportunity for him. He's from Queens. He knows what he's doing. If he can win with Milwaukee, and he was competitive every year, he certainly can win with the Mets. I think he'll have the advantage, sort of like Andrew Friedman. Friedman was in Tampa, learned how to win with limited payroll, went to L.A., and he took the Tampa principles with him, and then he had the money to go out there and sign Betts, go out there and make a trade for Scherzer, get Freeman for $168 million. I think Stearns is in the same scenario. He can build that farm system, which is what Steve Cohen wants, and then when it's time to make that big move, get that final piece, he's going to be able to do that financially. I think it's a match made in heaven. I think this was, they didn't know each other, by the way, until this recent get-together. They did not know each other, so obviously they hit it off. This is a home run in every shape, way, or form. I don't say how in the world you can't like this if you're a Met fan.
Doggy, you're talking our language, obviously, with the guys who go from the Rays and then bring James Click went to Houston, won a title. Andrew Friedman, that's a state-of-the-art organization. However, think of Chaim Bloom in Boston, where sometimes you're like, hey, be patient. We're putting it together nice and slow, where ownership or fan base are saying, wait a second, we're not winning this year. Like, what if they don't make the playoffs next year or the year after? That changes the equation. That's what Chaim Bloom is facing. He went from the Rays, went to the Red Sox.
I think Bloom's done a good job. I mean, everybody, for whatever the reason, thinks Bloom's an idiot. How in the world is that possible? He made this signing. He made this signing to get the kid from Japan. The guy's had a very, very good year.
Yes, of course.
The first baseman's a very good. The first baseman's going to be a very, very good player. Very good player. I know it was the owner's money, but he made sure he re-signed Devers after, in fact, Bogarts left. Sooner or later, Story will do something for him.
Well, maybe.
Sooner or later, Story will play well. And although he was in a tricky spot, it wasn't his fault. He got a catcher, and he got Verdugo, who's a useful player, for Mookie Betts. Now, they have no pitching. None. They've done an awful job there. But he did a good job with Chris Martin. He gave him a 2-year, $17 million contract. And Jansen's a competitor. So the idea that Bloom is some lousy general manager is a bunch of nonsense.
Okay,
the
listen
owner
to you.
wanted to cut back and go in a different direction. And Bloom has tried to accommodate the owner. He's got to take care of the owner. You know, when you're a GM there, Brian, half of your job, ask Phillips, ask Danny, when you're a GM, half of your job is to manage the owner. Right. You got to manage the owner. And he, I think, really done a good job. I think he's managed the owner. So I have no problem with Bloom.
All right, you're making a lot of sense here. Mike Rizzo back. Like, I'm stunned that it took this long. I know there's things happening in Washington, but, like, Mike Rizzo, to me, like, what better track record could you possibly want? I'm glad he's still there in Washington.
Well, maybe he was wondering if Jerry Reinsdorf would make a run at him and make him the GM in Chicago. I mean, that's what I was thinking, because obviously he's from Chicago. The White Sox are a team that it's about time they win. Maybe that was a possibility. And, you know, I don't know enough about it, but the White Sox fan is killing the owner for bringing in Chris Getz, the assistant to Hahn. Now, whether that is, I'm not going to, I don't know what the opinion is on that, but a lot of people don't like that. He deserves a chance, Getz, but he's from the same administration that did a lousy job. Correct. And now he's the GM. Well, but that's a tremendous. That's a great job by Washington. Yeah. We all love Rizzo. He's won a championship. You love him as much as I do. And I used to, him and I never really hit it off there a long time ago, but we have a good relationship. You do too. Yep. He's got Martinez there. Anybody think the Nationals are not going to be a good team in 2 or 3 years? Great move by Washington. Glad to see him stay. I
hear you. No, he's winning 95, 96, 98 games. There's all these years of success. All right, I think you have said before The Braves cannot win with this bullpen. You got a lot of fuel on that this week. Raisel Iglesias getting lit up back-to-back games against the Phillies. Your thoughts? I think Iglesias is better than you think, dog. I know it's a bad week. Gave up these bombs right to Harper, Trey Turner, but he's better than you think, dog.
Well, he was very bad for Cincinnati against Atlanta in the pandemic year in that little 2-game series. He was not good for I don't trust him. Now, the Braves will go into the postseason, and they will give him a chance to close. If he struggles, they got a lot of other guys in that bullpen. They won it 2 years ago with that sort of mishmash bullpen with guys who are out of baseball. And he'll do the same thing again.
A.J. Minter is still there, and he's back again. He had a rough start, but down the stretch now, I think, take a look over his last few weeks. He's got like an ERA in the ones. Let me say, a 1.29 ERA since the start of July. Iglesias, dog, he hadn't given up a home run since late June, and he gave up 2 this week. I know Yates has a 2.75. Pierce Johnson, they got in a trade. He's been excellent. They fixed him. It's a little, I know it's not their strength. It's not Mariano Rivera, you know, with Nelson and, you know, and who else, but Ramiro Mendoza. I'm trying to speak your language, but it's still pretty good.
No, I agree. My issue isn't the bullpen so much. My issue is the closer. I think that they give the ball to Iglesias to start, and if he struggles, they're not going to wait too long to go somewhere else. They are not going to lose a pennant opportunity or in the first-round playoff series because Iglesias has given up home runs all over the place, and he has not been good in the postseason. Albeit limited, he has not been good in the postseason for Cincinnati.
But who's good? But like who's good? Who's locked down? Like who's not? Like Trevor Hoffman is not. You know, it's not like those years where you had these giants walking the earth that you couldn't score upon. It's just not the way the game is played now.
And Hoffman was atrocious in a big game.
There you go. I'm saying, so right, Mariano, right. There was only one of those. There's nobody out there that's just like, oh, that's locked down. Hader, maybe, and he's not making the playoffs.
Let's do that for a second. Let's do that for a second before I say goodnight. If you had to pick one guy of a playoff team to get 3 outs on the road with a 1-run lead for your season, who is going to be in the postseason, who would you take?
I'll work on that. I'm not sure. I'll work on that. Who do you got? You got someone?
I would not take Texas.
No.
You know, would you take Pete? Would you take Pete Fairbanks? Would you take Pete Fairbanks?
You know, a lot of it depends on how is the guy pitching that week, dog. Like, there's a lot of top guys, but it's the most volatile position, and there's failure everywhere. It happens everywhere. Look, Minter was terrible early. Might be Minter now.
Would you take Presley, who was wonderful last year for Houston?
Presley's hot right now. Yes. Yeah, Ryan Presley of the Astros. Yes.
I would not. Here's the guys I wouldn't take. I'm not going anywhere near Texas's bullpen. That's been awful.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere near the Phillies bullpen. It is awful. And I'm not sure if I trust Evan Phillips with my life either.
That's a lot of awful for good teams. Yeah, I know. You're asking for an awful lot. Yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Doug. Last point.
No, that's what would concern me. I mean, I guess if I had my life on the line right now to get 3 outs in a serious scenario, you know, I might take the Houston closer. I think that being a postseason, I wouldn't take Romano there or Hicks in Toronto. No. I'm not taking those two.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No,
volatility everywhere. Right.
Not me.
Yeah, I got you. We'll come back to that.
There's volatility. That's why you're going to have some. You're going to have some drama. You're going to have some drama come postseason.